So, if you've ever been to a venture capitalist and been asked the question, what is the size of your market or what is the target addressable market, and you just stood there stunned, this video is for you. So, let's get right to it. This video is called Sizing Up a Market, and as it says, we're going to learn how to size up markets. Now, again, two different types of businesses. The first one is a B2C business where you're selling directly to consumers. And there's the B2B business where you're selling directly to businesses. So there are different methods to size up both kinds of markets, but let's get to it. Right? So simple unit economics. Unit economics is revenue. The revenue that you make is equal to the price of your product into the number of products you can sell. Right? And that's unit economics. How much money do you make per product? So your unit economics could be as simple as I make my product for 5 rupees and I sell it for 10 rupees. The profit is 5 rupees per product. Unit, which is one product. What is the math per product? How much do I buy it at? How much do I sell it at? The revenue is equal to the price of a product into the target addressable market. Now, the difference between a market and a target addressable market is the target addressable market is how much of the market you can actually tap. So if you say, I have this wonderful, set of hard drives that I can sell to everyone in India above the age of 50, that's the market. But the target addressable market is only people who are above the age of 50 who you can actually reach via ads, via billboards, via phone ads, whatever, by the different means to reach them. So the target addressable market is the actual portion of the market you can reach. For example, out of the billions of people in India, only about 400 million people actually have internet connectivity. Right? So those numbers matter a lot, especially if you're selling an internet product, then your market is no longer a billion people. It's, less than 400 million, actually even smaller than that because the active users of the internet are much lesser. So target addressable market, it really depends on the number of people you can reach. So it's the number of people you can target via ads, billboards, etc. into the probability they will actually buy your product. So you might think that all 50-year-olds might buy something, maybe a shaving blade that you're selling, and maybe you're able to reach 100 million of them. Then there's the probability they'll actually buy your product, right? Because, the target market here would exclude all women because they don't use facial shaving products. If you're selling a facial shaving product, then the probability of a woman buying it is nearly zero. If your product sucks and you know that the net promoter score is bad, then the probability of them buying your product is low. So this is a number that you'll have to gamble with in the beginning, and then you get more and more accurate, especially, when you've run an ad to 100 people and maybe 10 of them have gone ahead and bought the product, then you know that there's a 10% conversion rate. So here are the questions that most companies ask when they're going into a new market. Say when Swiggy decides to go out and build a Dunzo competitor, they think about, is the market big enough to interest our company? Right? Because the market's not big enough, it's not worth going in, right? Is the market moving fast enough in the right direction? So is the market picking up? Are more and more people demanding, delivery of goods, right? Is it going in the right direction? Or is the interest in it declining? And this is more like a sentiment thing, right? It's not something you can accurately, you can pull out some data, but it'll be, not very accurate data because you need a huge sample size. Or maybe there's only a small segment of the market that's fast moving, right? Is the market profitable enough? It doesn't matter if the market is big enough if you can't make money out of it, right? If you're going to spend 100 rupees and lose 100 rupees, it just doesn't make sense. Can we actually reach these people in an affordable way, right? Are the ads cheap enough? Are the billboards cheap enough? What percentage of people we reach will actually end up buying? It doesn't matter if you reach everybody if they're not going to open their wallet and spend money. So for example, if you're selling some B2B product, which is business to business product at 500 rupees per month, to marketing people, maybe you've built some marketing software, then your target market would be the number of VP marketing executives employed by companies with at least 500 employees in India. Maybe you're targeting big companies with at least 500 employees. Into the probability they will pay 500 rupees per month for your product. Now, this is some bad math because, if a company has more than 500 employees, usually they will pay way more than 500 rupees per month, but it's just an example of how this happens. Now, how do you actually do B2B market research? It's very simple. You go to LinkedIn, you click on, if you have Sales Navigator, you click on Sales Navigator. Otherwise, you just look for VP marketing. Right, on LinkedIn. And we're going to do, or in the sales segment of Meta, you'll learn how to do market research. You'll also learn how to prospect. It's the same technique. So it's in Meta Sales. Go check it out. So here, I'm looking for companies in India with at least 500 to 1,000 employees. I'm looking for VP of marketing, and as you can see, the total size of the market is about 1,507 people in this role. And so I know that if I take 1,507 into 500 rupees per month into 12 months, that's a potential revenue of 90 lakhs, right, per year. The number of potential buyers into price per month into number of months. And now what you do is you do the percentage of market share. Maybe you can only reach half of them. Maybe the other half, for whatever reason won't buy your product. Maybe they're already using a competitor. Maybe they're already working with like the best company in the world and you can't reach them. And this, you need intelligence for this, right? You need to be able to figure out who's using what competitor. If somebody is not using any marketing automation software, they're much more likely to buy your product. So maybe the percentage you can actually tap or the market share you can actually get is 50% because the other 50% of the market share has been taken by competitor 1, competitor 2, competitor 3, whatever, right? Then your real revenue potential is just 45.21 lakhs, right? Don't forget market movement. Maybe today it's just a few people who are VP marketing people, but eventually you think that a lot more companies are going to hire into the VP marketing role. They're going to hire a lot of people for the VP marketing role. And you think the number of VPs of marketing of companies with at least 500 employees is going to double, then your revenue potential also doubles, right? But this is kind of unlikely because, companies, which have 500 employees, they don't grow that fast. It's not very easy for a company to go from 0 to 500 employees. Right? Whereas if you're selling to small and medium enterprises, say in a new space like blockchain, then you know that market has fast movement. So if you know that today there are only 1,000 people who are potential buyers, tomorrow that could be 5,000 as more and more blockchain companies come up. Right? So how to do B2C market research? The best way to do B2C market research is to look at competitors. That's why even most valuation metrics are based on competitors. And we've been through the Meta Startup part of the series. You know how this works. Heuristics, which means that thumb rules or some sort of anchors that you can use which other people have put out are your best friend. For example, if you're selling glasses or lenses to college students, you use the heuristic of how many college students there are in the first place. So for example, if you're only looking at selling to engineering students as a start, you say the number of pass out engineering students every year is 15 lakhs. And you can get this, it's very easy to go to Google and just type in how many engineering students in India every year into the percentage of engineering students who need lenses, right? So how we do this and how you do any sort of research, and in meta stats or meta statistics, you learn how to do sample sizing. You run a survey on a smaller sample size. 1,000 is great for B2C. 1,000 is a good sample size that's good for B2C. So you find the number of students who need lenses. So say you did you just print out a piece of paper and said, would you buy or do you need glasses? And you went and handed it out to 1,000 people in an engineering college, 1,000 random people. And obviously you have to blind this. You can't go specifically to people who already have glasses, then you know what the answer is. That's why an online survey works very well for cases like this. You go in and you say the percentage of students who need lenses, say 1 out of every 4 puts down and says, yeah, I need lenses or I have power. Then out of these, when you collect these 1,000 responses, you know that 25% of them need lenses, and this is just a random number I came up with. Then this will also usually hold true, even for larger sample sizes. So what we can do is we can say 15 lakh engineering students, assume people only replace lenses once a year, 25%, the average price per lens is 1,500 rupees. So the revenue potential per year is that amount, which is about 56 crores, right? Which is a kind of sizable big market, right? So the total addressable market, say you're only able to tap into 50% of them. The total addressable market is 28.12 crores, which is still a decent sized market, right? So one of the ways we do B2C market research is we actually look at, we go to Facebook Ad Manager, we put out a small ad, or we set the criteria for an ad, we set some barriers, right? We say, okay, we want to target all the people who live in, say, Nagpur, who make a household income of at least 10 lakhs. Maybe that's your market, right? Then you can get the estimated daily results and reach, right? So you can see how many people are you planning to reach, how many people can you reach. So you see that of 460,000, right? Or the total size, you can see the total size, that's 650,000 people, the estimated daily reach. These are all numbers you can use to do market research, right? And this is actually total addressable market. Like this is the people you can actually reach via Facebook ads. right? So remember, these are heuristics. People go to many different types of colleges, not just engineering. So in the engineering example, you might think the market size is 28 crores, but actually, if you count all the people who go to commerce colleges or all the people who go to, medical college, even those guys need lenses, right? So you can actually club all of those numbers. Your actual market is much bigger, right? And that's what I said. Other students will need lenses too. This is also flawed in the sense that people outside the TG will also buy. So if you make a lenses brand specifically for college kids, there's a possibility that even old people might buy it. Somebody might want to feel cool. So it's not super accurate. You're just trying to get a rough approximation. So don't take these numbers extremely seriously. And most of these studies are flawed. So when you open your newspaper and you see that, market size is blah, 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 take it with a grain of salt. It's very hard these are all estimates, right? So picking a diverse sample set is important. You need to take a sample set where you have, like in the case of these lenses, you can't go to people specifically who already wear lenses. So you need to have enough kind of distribution. Preferably you're able to go in blind, which is why online surveys work well, because you can't specifically differentiate people before you give them the survey itself, right? So that's that for how to quickly run B2B and B2C market research. For you to learn how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator and how to segment, look at the meta sales section. You'll gain a little more understanding about how do you actually conduct that. Facebook Ad Manager, you will learn in the marketing section. So this is just, it's an alternate use for something we already do, right? So research and actual marketing and sales, they're somewhat the same thing, right? So when the same tools we use for B2B research and B2B sales are the same tools we use for actual sales and actual marketing. So research, sales, marketing, same tools. So that's it for this episode. On the next one, we'll learn how to open a bank account in India.